How are you doing today?
Good. We made it,
We made it.
which is like a lot for me because there's so much going on.
Oh my
So
God.
here we are.
We'll end with 3 kids, a full-time job, a
Just all the
husband that
things.
works out of town.
It's busy life, yeah.
It's
And a dog,
and a new dog, a puppy,
a puppy.
not
I
just
was
a
like,
dog.
let's add more chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's go all the way, balls
yeah.
to the walls.
Yes, yes. It's good. I was just figure because it's already a busy season of life. Like it's not going to not be busy. That was, the logic.
Yeah.
So here I am. I made it. We lined it up. We lined up schedules. So yeah.
Yay. Because your husband, he does physical work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's out there.
Brings power to the people, the power lines.
Yeah, I love
Power
that.
women, bringing the power to the people.
Amen,
Yeah.
sister. Amen.
Very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, it's like busy.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I'm so happy
Yeah.
you're here. Well, we did the podcast before together.
Yeah.
And then we tried it again. And because you brought your puppy, all that was happening between 5 dogs was barking. So there was only little bits of that podcast that we could have used. So we could have got about 5 minutes out of that podcast, but that doesn't really work.
Yeah.
So round
it's a little
3.
bit chaotic. I'm like, it's okay because it was sort of like my warm up.
Yes.
To podcasting. So
Yeah.
you've done so many, so you're
Yeah.
like seasoned now.
Right? It's so much
Yeah.
fun. I love doing
Yeah.
it.
I like to watch your podcast.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's been really good.
Oh, I appreciate that.
You are covering so many different topics, and I think that it's nice that you can just like connect with people and hear other people's stories. And
I know, and that's what I love doing. I really do love. What's interesting is I was talking with somebody about this the other day. They were like, why do you like doing this? I said, because when I used to do what I call sit downs with people, which I had with you, it's when people would come over to my house and we would just talk. And I always remind people I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, but we would just talk. And the way that I sort of viewed it was what they wanted to hear from themselves, but couldn't necessarily, because I was really listening and not trying to fix them, I could relay back to them.
yeah, you do a really good job of like mirroring back to people.
And that's why people have moments of clarity or even epiphanies during those sessions, because I wasn't telling them how to be. It was reminding them of what they already know within themselves.
Yeah.
But because they had those filters in the way, couldn't access at the time. So when I'm sitting with people on the podcast, it's like I feel like I get to know people in a way that I can't, not that I can't, but that's just different than a regular conversation. It's more of a merge. Like it's this, I don't know, it's like we sit down and we're signing into a contract to be vulnerable and really open.
I was just going to say, like, I think, with the podcast that I have watched, it's really impressive, like, how open your guests have been just with their story and, like, that vulnerability piece. I'm like, that is really hard.
And I think everything happens when we're ready to come together, we come together. And when people are ready to be open and vulnerable, here they are. And actually talking even about divine timing, it's interesting because that sort of falls into line with how people are talking a lot about divine masculinity, the divine masculine rather, and the divine feminine. And I don't really, it's not to discount what other people are saying about it, but I think it's become a trend of what people are saying, and they're not really understanding what that means. And so
What does that mean to you?
God is divine masculine and divine feminine unified. That's what I wrote in my book years ago. That is my interpretation of God. There is a man and a woman here for a reason. So that is broken, okay, automatically, so that we can learn and heal our way back home to God, to that wholeness right within us. If we haven't worked through our childhood programming, then we can't emanate that divine masculinity and femininity because it's still broken. And masculinity is good, so is femininity. And when again, we have those two within us, but we have to stop saying that there's toxic masculinity. No, there's only fucking assholes that aren't working on themselves, just the same as there's bitches that ain't working on themselves, right? And yet the word bitch doesn't necessarily just mean feminine or a woman. You can act like a bitch and be a man, but not be embodying that masculine quality, that masculine trait, because masculinity is more of a leadership quality.
100%. Yeah, I align with that for sure. Yeah.
Right? And that's more like kind of what I wanted to get into today.
Well, yes, I think like the masculinity thing and like, I don't know, kind of like culturally and within society, like the traits of masculinity, like the line almost being blurred a little bit. And like a lot of men not really like standing in their masculinity, like that to me, like it's kind of what comes up. What does that mean? Like, I think, yeah, like being that leader, like holding that masculine energy. And then I think there needs to be a polarity within relationships. And that's like being in your feminine and being soft allows the man to lead.
Yes.
You know? So that's how I see that. Like, I think it's really important and like there to be the polarity within roles. I even like look within my own relationship, my marriage, and it's, yeah, it's a balance. Like there needs to be like a softness and a feminine quality from me and allowing my husband to lead. And when I'm leaning like too heavily into my masculine, it's like taking away from that from him.
It's demasculating.
It is. Yeah. And
do you find you fight more when you do that? Like if you try...
Well, then it's like I just move into operating out of like control, and
so conflict can come out of that.
Yeah, conflict for sure. Yeah. But it's beyond that. It's really like looking at a lot of men and like how we are operating within society and just that masculine trait and really like being men and being leaders. And that's not something to be lost. Like it is so important, has such an important value to our society, and not to be taken as that women can't lead. Women can absolutely lead and hold that as well.
Well, one of the things that I wrote down, because, okay, so I was riding my bike to the gym the other day, and I always, like, my mind's always going. So I'll do voice notes, right? So I pulled over on the side of the road to record a voice note. And I was like, oh, I'm going to write that down for our podcast. Yeah. But I put, what is the definition of male toxicity? It's a lack of leadership, which stems from a lack of self-acceptance, because when you have self-acceptance, you're confident. When you don't, you act arrogantly and or weak, which are the same thing. And that's where people confuse narcissism with self-assuredness, but narcissism is actually insecurity. And so what's missing in our men today is leadership, which again is confidence that shines from self-acceptance, which is also what being centered is, right? And so when we have a lack of leadership, we also have a lack of testosterone. Like you think about how the testosterone has dropped in men so rapidly, like over the last 30, 40 years. It's because we've been like, rah, 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 women, lead, Trump, take over. You know what I mean? Not President Trump, but I mean like Trump men, like take them over, you know, suppress them. Yeah. And so it is demasculating them, and it's fucking with their hormones, and it's fucking with our hormones too. And I believe that hormones are thoughts. And when our thoughts aren't centered, our hormones aren't centered. And then we're out of whack with our leadership within both of us. Because yes, again, women can lead in their role. And that doesn't mean like they have to be a housewife and this and that.
No.
But like how you were saying, embody and embrace that nurturing, caring, sensitive, brilliant, artistic, creative side of us, you know what I mean, that helps uphold men, and then men uphold us at the same time. There's leadership in both of us. Yeah. But again, I really believe that if we're not actively resolving our past, we will always be just little kids running around in adult bodies. And then we act like little bitches too. you think about like, what is a bitch, right? Like, as I mentioned, it's not something female. Like, a bitch is a man that hits a woman, for fucking sure. That is the biggest bitch of all. A bitch is a man that threatens a woman's safety, their home, get out, or if the woman's not working, then uses that to control and dominate over them.
Yeah.
There's no leadership in that.
And there's also
that's insecurity.
that's also not seeing the value of the other
yes.
partner, right? Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I'm like thinking too, like, so I'm raising boys, and like they learn a lot from both parents, right? There's certain things that like they're gonna get from me that's like nurturing, that they're coming to me for, but then certain things that like only their dad can teach them, right? And like embody and instill within them, right? The masculine traits.
And I did, again, I don't know where I read this or listened to it on probably listened to it on a podcast. I don't sit down and read too much. I'm usually listening to podcasts, if anything, in the background. But they said, this psychologist said that babies, right, should be with their moms until 2. So is that a toddler? I don't know. You're the parent.
Yeah, toddler, yeah.
Okay,
So.
till 2. And then from that age on, they should start spending more time with the dad.
Well, it's also like just kind of coming back to your reference of the bitch. Not that my children are, but it's like too much of the feminine, too much of that. Like there needs to be harmony. There needs to be a balance.
Men are really just simply direct. They get to the fucking point. Whereas we're like, I went to the grocery store, went down this aisle, and I bought this and that.
Women are very detail oriented,
and then I ran into
with
so
like a
and
whole
so.
story.
Yeah. I had this great conversation at the grocery store. A guy would never say that. He'd be like, "Yeah, I went to Safeway, picked up the meat here."
It's so true, even just about communication styles.
Yeah.
Right? Communicate completely differently. But yeah, like I don't know, I just think about with my sons, like of course there's really, really important things that they will get from me and the attributes from me, but there's like, they need a lot of like that one-on-one time, I think, with their dad, to learn different things like from him that I want them to like know how to switch out a tire and do like basic things. And like, I'm like super proud because I feel like my husband is like the ultimate handyman, but I think you have to learn that, right? Like, and not that is, I guess, somewhat associated with like a more masculine trait, but it's like, again, it's like taking leadership in your home or in your workplace and like knowing how to do things. Like that needs to be passed down. Like I really like want that instilled within.
Like I was
my
never
kids.
taught that with the tire change. Yeah. My friend Sean said, yeah, my daughter called me the other day. She had a flat tire. So I went and changed it for her. And you know, he said to me, he goes, I told her, I'm so sorry I didn't teach you this before you got your license. I should have walked you through this already and shown you exactly how to do it so that if your phone died, you were stuck on the side of the road somewhere, you didn't have self-service.
That applies to everyone, not just boys and girls. Like, sorry, not to sound
that
like...
you would have known how to do that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you can be taught that by either parent, but it is more of a masculine quality that has nothing to do with gender, is my point.
Yeah.
Just like the word bitch has nothing to do with gender. Just feeling that ability to stand up for yourself sometimes too. That, you know, again, unless you were raised by a really strong mom in a female household, you might be a little bit meek around people when you need to stand up for yourself. And just, it doesn't mean aggressive. It just means speak directly and confidently. Because if there isn't confidence, then again, you're speaking from a place of insecurity and being weak, and people will take advantage of you that way.
That I can actually really relate to that. I feel like that's actually something I've had to work on developing in my adult life, is like being more assertive and like stepping into that confidence. And I completely, like I've been in many situations where that's been taken advantage of, or like, you know, bullied, I guess, in a sense. So that's been a good lesson for me, good learning.
And it's funny because I've talked with you about this and not being bullied by men, but by women.
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
not feeling confident enough to speak up your truth to these women. And same with me with women. Like, not any longer. I'm not in that place anymore.
Yeah.
But we've done a lot of work on
Yeah.
ourselves. We really speak directly to people now.
Yeah.
And that came from our masculine center, and that also feminine center, because we were willing to nurture ourselves and be like, no, I want to take care. I want to go in and heal this and nurture myself. And then when we do that, we find that confidence. We step into that leadership where we're not pushovers.
Yeah, I think it's like really just about having your own voice, but also like stepping into that. And that's like a huge lesson I had to learn, personally and professionally, and just, yeah, standing up for yourself, but having a voice and not allowing people to kind of like push you around, bully you, like manipulation, all of it, right? And I think it really comes back to the point of what you're saying. When you are feeling good within yourself, you're able to speak your truth. You're able to not hold back or not be meek. And like a lot of my life, I held back a lot of things that I would have to say, you know, out of fear or whatever.
Just fear of rejection.
Yeah, just yeah, totally, 100%. That's so true. Yeah,
And just to fit in. It's like, well, I don't want to be pushed out of the group.
but you get pushed out anyway.
Yeah. Amen, thank God, because
Yeah.
it's made us who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a girl talk to me the other day, and I'm calling her a girl because she wasn't acting like a woman, in that she was acting as though she was my friend, but then she said, when we were talking, there was something I didn't like about what she said. So she dug into her little bag, her little burn, what do you call it?
Burn bag.
Burn bag, and pulled out something I said on a previous podcast about women. So it was really interesting. I was actually talking with a guy on one of the podcasts about twins.
Okay.
And I said, I've always thought I had a twin. Like when my mom was pregnant, I thought...
Yeah, I remember I watched that one.
Yeah, I thought I had a twin.
Yeah.
And I said that, then a psychic told me years ago, yeah, you had a twin, but it died in gestation. And I was like, oh my God, I knew it. Because I've always felt like I've been missing that best friend in my life. Like I've never had that ride or die, or that person that you're always with, that you can just tell all your deepest, darkest secrets to. But what I was talking about was in relation to the twin. And if anybody knows the relationship with twins, they'll know that there's nothing that's really more unique, because they'll always say that it's a different relationship than having with any other family member, even your children, or any friends that you have. It is a very, very special, sacred thing. And that's what I meant in that conversation, was that really deep, sort of unique conversation. And she took that, what I said, and twisted it up and tried to weaponize it and use it against me. And then said, like referencing that I don't have that trust with women or something, or I don't have those friends with women. And I'm like, well, hold up, because yes, I do. I just don't. And then she said, you know, me and my mom are girls. And I thought, well, holy fuck. I never want to be a part of the girls club if you guys all create burn lists for the girls that you say are your friends. And then, because I do have women in my life that I trust, but see, they're not girls, they're women.
It's like Mean Girls and like the Burn book.
Yes, exactly.
But also, when I'm hearing this, I'm like, why would you feel the need to like go to that extent to pull something from a podcast that you chose to watch? But then to try to use that like against you, I think that reveals a lot of character, like about that particular person that you're referencing. But
see, that's when girls act like bitches, is my point. And then guys can act like bitches too. So, and again, it has nothing to do with gender. It has all to do with the fact that they're in that moment they're off center and they're looking to take control and dominate their situation and the person. Like, I
Yeah.
need to control this because I'm not getting what I want out of it because I'm not centered.
I've seen like so much of that too. Like I feel like I've had so many important lessons, which is all growth, and I'm grateful for it. Like I'm grateful for having some of the experiences that I've had and like, yeah, being bullied essentially. But also kind of now seeing through a lot of like illusions, a lot of like personas that are put on in a lot of ways. But again, it's like they're getting something out of that interaction by trying to like kind of bring you down a peg, or like you're here, and
Right? Like trying to control and dominate the situation.
which to me actually just kind of relates back to insecurity.
Right?
It's interesting. It was making me think actually. This was probably like 12 years ago. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. I went to see Tony Robbins.
You did?
Live. I literally walked on fire. It was amazing. I walked
Okay, you must have told me this and I forgot.
Yeah, have you ever seen that where he like gets people to walk on fire?
Yes, I have.
It was crazy. So I actually did that. But I remember that's not what I was going where I was going with this, but I'll just throw that in
I think
there.
it's so cool.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was so cool. But just around like people who cut people down, if subconsciously you never believe that you are able to attain whatever that person has. And it's like a self-perpetuating cycle, right? Because it's like there's a layer of like you're cutting that person down because they have something
You want.
you want.
You're void of.
Yes, you're void of. And then by like having that energy and then like cutting them down, it actually is doing the opposite of what that inner desire is, right? But back to the point of like being assertive and like kind of standing up to the bullies, to the bitches, it has been like definitely a huge learning and growth of mine, and I think will continue to be. I mean, this is life, and like you're always going to be encountering different personalities and different types of people and stuff. But I think, coming back to self and having self-confidence, and then being able to have a voice and to stand up to it, like a lot of that, right? But also to see through the veil, like see when the veil is lifted, to see through the illusion, I guess, of what people put on, but what they're actually saying.
So another thing that I wanted to touch on was men that get threatened by women that know what they want. So, for example, I had a guy say to me the other day, "Hey, do you want to go out on a date?" And I said, "No." And he said, "No, why?" And I said, "You don't have enough money." And he looked at me and was kind of like, ugh. But I was just simply being honest. Like, I'm in a place where I am doing really well. I have worked my ass off to be where I'm at. So I shouldn't have to think that I need to be with anything other than that. Somebody that's worked on themselves, not just career-wise, but also emotionally. And like I've done a ton of work on myself. So I want somebody that's done the same. So I said to him, I'm just simply telling you the truth, so you don't think that it has anything to do with your looks or maybe your character or anything like that. And so he's like, yeah, cool, okay, great. So I thought, okay, we're moving on, right? But I'm somebody that speaks directly because I am in my center.
You're very direct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
do like that about you.
Yeah.
I would say actually to me that's not only like stating your standard, but it's also about raising your standards.
Yes.
It's
Amen.
It is.
Amen.
It is. And I feel like, raising your standards, and like this to me, actually, I know is very different analogy, but even like I choose not to drink.
Yeah.
But that's for me, choosing not to drink and choosing not to like lean into like a particular vice like that is for me raising my standards. But to other people, it can be taken in a particular way, and it's like, no, like for you, this is, you're making a choice, and this is like the standard that you're looking for, and you're raising your standards. So again, it's not really anything about that person. It just doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not in alignment.
And what was really interesting, this is where what I thought might have been a man turned into a bitch. So he said one thing, yep, that's okay, no problem, we can still hang out and be friends, but thought a totally different thing, and then followed through with the actions of that in the coming weeks. So in other words, he took what I said weeks later and threw it in my face and said, I can't believe you're that kind of a chick that you would only go for men with money. And I said, hang on a second. I am not gold digging. There's a very big difference. I am asking for somebody who's at the same standard I am. And the fact that you are now trying to throw this in my face to make me feel shame and guilt shows the fact that you have no leadership. You are spiraling from your
It's just
childhood.
ego. It's ego.
Yeah, well, ego is childhood ignorance. It's not working through his mommy and daddy issues. So now he's projecting them onto me. Well, you're missing the best thing that could have ever happened to you. And I said, well, actually, again, the proof is in the pudding. Clearly, I am not, because I don't want to date a little bitch. I want to date a man who would never act like this, because he would uphold a woman, because he would be at her standard. You are clearly not. So thank you for showing me all of you, and goodbye. And also, another thing that's important too, though, is that if women are looking for men with money, it's because they're broken. And they're not working through all their childhood shit either. Their daddy and mommy issues, because it could be mommy issues too, right? Usually it's both, right? And so if you're not, then you're going to be looking to be saved by somebody out there. And the problem is you're going to attract a guy that's broken as well, that has a lot of money, because money doesn't mean that you're together emotionally at all. So you're going to attract a guy that's going to want to control and dominate you with that. So you're going to be asking for money, and or you're going to move in with him, and then he'll be able to kick you out when he wants to, you know? And it's like, what are you attracting? And what are you wanting in your life? Look at that first, and see yourself, see that you are your own problem. But when you truly understand that, and you're not just intellectualizing that, it becomes a really powerful statement, because then you understand that you're also your own solution. So you don't feel victimized by that and want to lash out at, let's say, me for bringing this trigger out in you, because that's going to show you exactly where you're at. But if you're asleep and in victim mode, you're constantly going to be wanting to attack. You're never going to want to resolve any of your shit. And so you're 100%. Always going to be attracting.
I know a lot of people that just operate on that wavelength. Like just, there's never any sort of personal accountability or responsibility. It's just like, it's always external to them. It's never like looking within. It takes self-awareness to recognize, like, yeah, everyone could have like be triggered by different things, like in conversations or whatever, but it takes the self-awareness piece to like recognize that, and then not to victimize or like project.
But to seize it as an opportunity to self-reflect.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean that you have to work it out with that person. That means you can go home and work it out within yourself by feeling that emotion through to exhaustion, like I've talked about in my book. Like, that is so important, because you're reintegrating that emotion back in. You know, because everything that feels uncomfortable in us has been suppressed, right? We push it down, push it away. So it's always going to have this charge, this electrical charge, that is going to charge up the quantum field and activate scenarios for us to be triggered again, until we fully allow ourselves to feel it back in, which is a part of self-acceptance. We're accepting that emotion back in, and then we feel neutral. Now I don't have a fucking problem with the person anymore, because I understand it was me. Again, it brings me back to, I'm my own fucking problem, and I'm my own solution if I actually want to work on myself. And if I don't, I'm going to hold you responsible forever. But what I really recognize in my life now is just like how you were saying, it's like we once we found our voices, and continue to do so, because life is a constant peeling and unveiling, and we're always working on ourselves, but we align to women and to men that are strong and rooted in their center too, that maybe we're still going to get a little triggered by every now and again, but it's not in the same way. It's more in a way of like, oh my God, that person's showing me something, thank you. Instead of, oh my God, that fucking asshole, you know, and staying stuck there.
Yeah, that's a huge awareness. Yeah, I love that. It's so true.
I love you so much.
Love you too.
I do.
Yeah, no, I'm grateful for our friendship.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like I feel, I don't know, I would say like the past 10 years, like I've gone through a lot of like friendship shifts. And, you know, I think that's actually just part of life. Like, I think, you know, what's that saying? Like reason, season, or lifetime. And that, you know, like there's different people that come into your life at different points. And like, I have like so much gratitude, and even for the friendships and like the relationships that are no longer in my field, and that's okay, and like have acceptance around that. But there's been so much learning and growth from that. But yeah, like a lot of like I don't know, friendship fallouts, or not even fallout, just moving into a different space. And
You said that beautifully. Yeah, you're just moving into different spaces, different phases of your life are showing you different things. So yeah, no matter what, the frequency will change sometimes. It doesn't mean that you hate those people or whatever. You just kind of move away from them. They're over there doing this.
It means you're changing. That's how I also see it. Like, I feel like that's like your own growth. And again, there's people that stay with you through the changes, like as you grow, and like, but then I look at, like, I wasn't in the same place 10 years ago than I am now, right? Like I wasn't, definitely not as assertive, way more passive for sure. But again, I had to go through the growth, the learning of a lot of these different situations to work through that myself, right? So, throughout that process, like different friendships falling away as you shift into
and
businesses too. Yeah, totally. You know, just kind of no longer a fit, right? That once really were. And like, I can also honor that for what it was, like that, you know, at one point in time, this was like very much in alignment for me at a particular time, but it's not anymore. And honoring that was really difficult, right? When you're in transition. And I have to like say that for a lot of people, because I think moving through transition is very hard. It's very hard in the sense that like there's a lot of uncertainty, and you're shifting, right? So, but then you just have to trust that like wherever you're moving to next, and like as you're like growing from that it's actually it's propelling you forward. That's my perspective, at least. But yeah, definitely, yeah, lots of friendship shifts. And then also, yeah, like even businesses that I've had to like move away from and move on to new chapters in my career path, and like that's okay too. But it kind of circles back to the conversation we've had earlier of the more you're like learning and growing within yourself, and that place of self-acceptance, allowing you to have more of a voice and be more assertive, allows you to navigate through some of the relationships and illusions of when there is masks being donned, I guess, or where people aren't really truly transparent, or they're saying one thing but they're acting in a different, right? So I mean, this is life, and this is all just part of navigating relationships, I think. But the more you can come back to that place, like that's power, right?
The more you can, like, basically, as you've been saying this whole time, but you're learning and growing, and the more aware you become, the more you're like, you're taking the gold from every one of those experiences to see your own growth.
Yeah.
So even if you do move away from those people, you're like grateful.
100%. Like, actually, I can hold like a lot of gratitude, and not animosity. Like hold those people as like they've all played a really important role within my life, and not hold animosity, but instead gratitude. But that doesn't mean we have to be friends or we have to be business associates or whatever. Like that's okay. It's just like almost like a contract ending, right?
But see, what I love about you, because I know you so well too, is it's like, and I've watched you, like, you're such a boss bitch. I mean, literally starting a nonprofit in your 20s. And I mean, but what I love about you too is you're not fake in the sense that you're like, oh, okay, I'll just get over it. And I'm sending them sunshiny rainbows and I'm really grateful for it. Like, no, everything you've gone through in your life with business and friends, you go into the thick of the feeling of it and you let yourself let loose in it and you don't deny it.
Yeah.
You fully go in and you're like, fuck this. Like you've been saying, like, it's tough. It is tough and you don't deny it. And so you go through that to really find the fruits of it. Like, you have to go to hell to find heaven within every single experience in your life. Otherwise, you're not growing and you will remain a victim.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, I remember, well, just kind of coming back to that point of like, well, thank you also. Thank you. I appreciate that. You have to go into it. And sometimes you'll be in periods of time where you're just in it. Like you're in the transition. And I remember listening to this podcast and it was about just taking the next indicated step. And I was like, okay, like, what does that mean? Like, just like, what is the next thing I need to do? And when you're sitting in uncertainty or you're sitting in the unknown, it is so hard. And when you're leaving almost like an old identity, an old self, you're like letting that go, but you're not to this new place where you want to be. You're in the in-between. That is so tough, right? Or like, that's like if you're leaving like a marriage or a relationship that's like a long-standing relationship or a business partnership, right? Like that in-between is so challenging to navigate. A lot of people get stuck there, right?
Yes.
But that's where the growth is, and that's where that like inner reflection and like going into that, and then you can actually kind of break patterns. Like you've talked so much about like patterning, right? But like when you're conscious to it, otherwise the pattern, whether it's like a relationship, it's just going to repeat that cycle in a different, it's going to come up in a different form, right?
Yes.
And that's where I do have gratitude for these lessons, for these relationships, right?
Yeah.
Because it served as such an important lesson for me, for my personal growth. So thank you.
Yeah.
And then that actually puts you onto a new trajectory, which is like, if you can look at that as being a really exciting new adventure. Like even I look at you and like you've gone through like a massive transition in like the past year. But you have right now in the space that you're sitting in, like so much opportunity to go where your heart desires. And that's like a really exciting place to be.
Thank you.
But it's hard. And that's what kind of, I guess, like the message to get across, especially for anyone who's like watching this, who is like in a time of transition, to like stick with it. And to me, like that next indicated step really did land because it's just whatever is in front of you. It's like whatever is in front of you that day and doing that day really well. And the growth and the learning comes, right? The more your path is then revealed in front of you.
I'm so proud of you. I could cry.
Stop. No, it's true. I've learned so much. It's really, and I appreciate it because we've kind of started the conversation about how you are so brilliant at being able to mirror back to people. But you all the time, like I'll be voice messaging you in crisis, or not in crisis, just about some sort of daily rant. But yeah, you do have this beautiful way of like mirroring back. To your friends and to the people that you work with, and I think that is such a gift. But yeah, it's like how you see yourself and the growth within yourself. And yeah, we kind of started the conversation on like, talking about bitches and masculine traits, feminine traits, illusion, fakeness. Like all of this exists within the world that we're navigating every single day, right? But kind of bringing it back to like self. But no, like, and it's true, like all this, like we're talking about all these different things, and like the lessons that I have gained from these experiences, that's the gold right there. But a lot of people, if you, coming back to your point, if you are like stuck in victimizing, like self-victim, so many people like live like that all the time, and everything is like, it's never your fault, and you know, it's always something external. It's this person, it's that person, it's this situation. Yeah, it's like that self-accountability, self-reliance, and coming back to that point of like, the more you pour into yourself, the more you work on yourself, you can raise into that like leadership, and you're raising your standards. Like you're saying, it's like, this is not a personal attack towards this person that, you know, wanted to take you on a date. Like, thank you, that's like really nice. It just it's not where I'm at. But instead of like just an acknowledgement to that, it was like an ego attack, right? But that's actually not what it's about. And it's just like, when you bring it back to self, and like that you are on your own path, but you're also raising your standards through the process, you're going to have to say no to things, right?
Yeah.
People, situations, jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, it's always coming, men that do that, it's coming from a place that isn't masculine. That's not masculinity to me. A man is somebody that's centered, that would never want to tear a woman down in any way. Just like a woman who's centered in her leadership role would never want to do that to a man. Be like, I get it, I support it, and I'm here for it. You know, just like I'm here for you, and you're here for me, and I'm so lucky you're in my life. Well, and actually, luck just means preparedness, and preparedness means it's the accumulation of experiences over the course of our entire lives that had led us to this point, to have this kind of understanding that's not just intellectual, because intellect hovers up here to me, that's actually grounded and anchored in what is emotional intellect, because there's a difference between intellect up here, thinking you know something, versus really knowing it. And to know something, you have to be in your body with the chemicals, embracing all of your emotions, not throwing them at other people and trying to hold them responsible for them. So amen.
Cheers.
Cheers.